In the middle of a crowded birthday party, balloons swaying above, and children laughing all around, a man in a sharp suit suddenly raised his glass. His voice trembled, but his words cut straight into every heart in the room. "A year ago, I thought I had everything a man could want, but then I met a woman who couldn't even afford formula for her baby, and she taught me the true meaning of love and strength." Gasps filled the air as he turned, holding a velvet box in his hands. All eyes locked on the woman beside him, her face wet with tears, her baby clutched to her chest. No one could have predicted what he was about to do next, or how one simple act of kindness months before would lead to this life-changing moment. The Target superstore on Chicago's South Side was buzzing that Saturday morning. Shoppers rushed past with overflowing carts, but one woman stood frozen in the checkout line, her trembling hands clutching a small wallet that carried the weight of her world. Her name was Hannah Brooks, a 30-year-old single mother whose eyes revealed both exhaustion and an unyielding determination. In her arms, her 9-month-old daughter, Lily, whimpered softly, unaware of the storm her mother was silently battling. Hannah's cart was modest infant formula diapers, a few vegetables, and some canned goods that she hoped would stretch into meals for the week. When the cashier rang up the total, Hannah's heart sank. She had only $50 tucked inside her worn wallet, and the bill came to $62. Her throat tightened. She had calculated everything carefully, yet somehow the money wasn't enough. Behind her, impatient customers shifted, sighing audibly. Hannah felt the sting of humiliation rising in her chest. With a shaky voice, she whispered, "I'm sorry. I'll have to put some things back." The cashier gave her a sympathetic smile as Hannah hesitated, then pulled out a jar of baby food and set it aside. Still not enough. She added the soap, then one more item. But the largest cut came when her trembling hand picked up the canister of formula, Lily's lifeline. Hannah's eyes filled with tears as she slid it across the counter. "Please, take this one off too." At that moment, Lily began crying harder, as if her tiny body understood what was being taken away. Hannah kissed her daughter's forehead, whispering desperately, "It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy will find a way." What Hannah didn't know was that someone else had been watching someone who, by all appearances, lived in a different universe. Jonathan Reed, a 30-year-old millionaire tech entrepreneur, stood in the next line with his 4-year-old daughter, Emily. Jonathan was the kind of man people noticed: tall, sharply dressed, with an aura of quiet authority. His cart overflowed with things Emily had tossed in: cookies shaped like animals' candy, even a new toy she had begged for. To him, money was no obstacle. But what caught his attention wasn't the groceries in front of him, it was Hannah. He saw the way she held herself with dignity, even while her face burned with embarrassment. He noticed how she put her child's needs before her own pride, willing to walk away without the very item her baby needed most. Something inside Jonathan shifted, a feeling he hadn't let himself feel in years. Emily tugged on his sleeve, her wide blue eyes fixed on Hannah. "Daddy, why is that lady crying? Is her baby hungry?" Her innocent question pierced him. Jonathan swallowed hard, realizing his daughter had just voiced what his heart already knew. Before Hannah could leave the formula behind, Jonathan stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said gently to the cashier. "Please add her items to my bill." Hannah spun around, stunned. Standing before her was this stranger in a tailored coat holding Emily's hand. His expression wasn't smug or condescending. It was sincere. "No, I can't let you do that," Hannah stammered, her cheeks flushed with shame. Jonathan's voice was calm, steady. "It's nothing really. We all need a little help sometimes." Tears welled in Hannah's eyes. For months, she had carried the weight of survival alone. To have someone step in, not out of pity but genuine kindness, shook something deep within her. She hesitated, glancing down at Lily, whose cries had quieted, as if sensing the shift. Her pride battled with desperation, but a mother's love always wins. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Jonathan smiled softly and handed over his credit card. Emily watched the exchange, beaming with pride. "Daddy, you're helping the baby." The moment was small in the chaos of the supermarket, but for both Hannah and Jonathan, it felt monumental. Their eyes met, and for the first time in years, Jonathan felt his guarded heart stir. Hannah felt seen, not as a failure, but as a mother fighting for her child. Neither of them realized that this brief encounter would become the turning point of their lives. Outside, Hannah adjusted Lily on her hip, clutching the bags that now contained everything she needed. Jonathan walked past with Emily skipping beside him, but something made him pause. He turned back just as Hannah whispered to her baby, "God must have sent us an angel today." Their eyes met once more, and though they were strangers, an unspoken connection had already been made, one that neither time nor circumstance could easily erase. 3 weeks had passed since that unforgettable day at Target, yet Hannah Brooks couldn't erase it from her mind. Every night after putting baby Lily to sleep, she thought about the stranger who had stepped in at the moment when her dignity felt most fragile. His name still echoed in her thoughts, Jonathan Reed. She had his business card folded neatly in her wallet, though she had never dared to use it. Life hadn't gotten any easier. Hannah was juggling late rent, rising utility bills, and the looming threat of eviction. She searched endlessly for work, but the jobs she could find required full-time availability, and no one wanted to hire a mother who had to carry her 9-month-old baby along. Each rejection felt like a door slamming in her face. Still, she refused to give up. Across the city, Jonathan Reed was restless too. He sat in his Manhattan high-rise office staring at spreadsheets and contracts, but his thoughts drifted back to the woman with trembling hands and the baby who had stopped crying when his daughter Emily reached out to touch her. Jonathan, a man who once prided himself on keeping walls around his heart, found himself asking questions he couldn't ignore. Was Hannah okay? Did Lily have what she needed? Why couldn't he shake this encounter from his mind? Emily only fueled his curiosity. Almost every night she asked Daddy, "Do you think the baby's bigger now? Do you think Hannah smiles more? Can we see them again?" Jonathan would smile, but inside he was torn. He wanted to protect his daughter's heart as much as his own. Meanwhile, Hannah's situation hit a breaking point. Her landlord, Mr. Wilson, knocked on her door with a notice in hand. "I'm sorry, Hannah, but the rent is going up. If you can't afford the new amount, I'll need the apartment back in 30 days. Panic rippled through her. With trembling hands, she begged, "Please, I've never missed a payment. Can't we work something out?" But Mr. Wilson shook his head. Hannah was left staring at the piece of paper that spelled out the reality she had feared most: homelessness. That night, as Lily slept in her arms, she whispered into the darkness, "I'll find a way for us, my love. I promise." The very next day, fate intervened. An old friend from college called unexpectedly. "Hannah, I heard you're looking for work. I know a family searching for a nanny for their little girl. They're offering good pay, and you might even be able to bring Lily with you." Hope flared in Hannah's chest. "Please give me the contact. I'll do anything." When the address and employer's name came through, Hannah froze. Jonathan Reed. Her heart pounded as she clutched the phone. Was this destiny or a cruel twist of fate? On the morning of the interview, Hannah dressed Lily in her neatest outfit and put on her best clothes, though they were modest compared to the luxurious office tower she was about to enter. As she rode the elevator up to the 22nd floor, she whispered, "This could change everything, sweetheart." In his office, Jonathan sat behind his polished desk, bracing himself for another round of nanny interviews. Dozens of highly qualified candidates had already walked through his doors, but none had impressed him. None had shown the warmth and genuine love he wanted for Emily. He sighed, expecting more of the same, until the door opened. "Hannah," he whispered, rising to his feet, disbelief flooding his face. Hannah froze, her eyes locking with his. "Jonathan." The air between them thickened with shock, recognition, and something unspoken. Lily stirred in Hannah's arms, cooing softly as if she too remembered him. Emily, still at school, was the only one missing to complete the circle that fate seemed determined to draw. Jonathan stepped closer, his voice softer than she had ever heard. "You're the candidate?" "Yes," Hannah replied, her voice trembling but steady. I didn't know it was you." For a moment, the successful millionaire and the struggling mother stood in silence, bound together by an invisible thread neither of them could deny. Jonathan glanced at Lily and then back at Hannah, 1,000 thoughts rushing through him. Was this coincidence or the universe answering questions he hadn't dared to ask? Hannah, desperate but proud, added, "I wouldn't have applied if I had known." "I don't want you to think I'm taking advantage," Jonathan cut her off gently. "Stop. Hannah, I don't see you that way. If anything, I'm relieved it's you. Emily hasn't stopped talking about you and Lily since that day. Maybe this isn't an accident. Maybe this is exactly what was supposed to happen. Hannah's eyes filled with tears, not of shame this time, but of something dangerously close to hope. She knew her life was about to change, whether she was ready or not. The moment Hannah Brooks stepped into Jonathan Reed's office that day, both of their lives began to shift in ways neither of them had imagined. Jonathan, who had spent years building walls around his heart, felt them cracking. Hannah, who had fought every battle alone, suddenly saw a door opening, a chance at stability, safety, maybe even something more. The interview didn't feel like an interview at all. They sat across from each other, the weight of their unexpected reunion lingering in the air. Lily babbled on Hannah's lap, and Jonathan couldn't take his eyes off the baby. He remembered vividly the sound of her cries in the store, the way Hannah had held her with desperate tenderness, and how Emily had asked if the baby was hungry. Jonathan leaned forward. "Hannah, you don't need to prove your qualifications to me. I've met a dozen candidates, all with perfect resumes, but none of them felt right for Emily. And when you walked in, it finally made sense. Emily adores you." And Lily, his eyes softened as he looked at the baby. "I think she already feels like family to her." Hannah's throat tightened. "Jonathan, I'm grateful. But I want you to know I'm not looking for charity. I want to work. I need to work. And I need someone who doesn't just work but loves my daughter." Jonathan replied. His voice was calm, but there was an undercurrent of emotion in it. "I think that person is you." That afternoon, Jonathan canceled his meetings and invited Hannah to come with him to pick up Emily from school. Hannah hesitated, but something about his sincerity made her trust him. Together, they drove through the city. When Emily saw Hannah and Lily waiting at the school gate with her father, her little face lit up like the sun. "Hannah, Lily, Emily," shouted, running straight into Hannah's arms. She hugged her tightly, then touched Lily's cheek gently. "I missed you both so much." Jonathan stood behind them, watching his daughter's joy with a lump in his throat. He realized, perhaps for the first time, that money, success, and power couldn't buy the kind of happiness he was seeing in Emily's smile. In the weeks that followed, Hannah officially became Emily's nanny. But it quickly became clear this wasn't just a job. Emily clung to Hannah as if she had always been part of their family, and Lily grew healthier and happier in the warmth of their shared home. Jonathan, once a man obsessed with 12-hour workdays, found himself rushing home to have dinner with the three of them. It was Mrs. Patterson, the longtime housekeeper, who noticed it first. "Mr. Reed," she said one evening with a knowing smile, "this house feels alive again. For years it was just walls and silence, but now it feels like a home." Jonathan didn't answer, but her words stayed with him. One night when Lily came down with a fever, Jonathan sat up alongside Hannah, helping her cool the baby's forehead and whispering comfort. Hannah looked at him in surprise as he cradled Lily with unexpected tenderness. "You don't have to stay up," she said softly. "Yes, I do," Jonathan answered firmly, "because she matters to me too. Because you both matter." For Hannah, it was the first time in years that someone had stood beside her in the middle of a storm. She felt her defenses begin to crumble. Emily was thriving as well. With Hannah's guidance, her world expanded: bedtime stories, laughter at the park, hugs that were warm and real. Emily often asked, "Daddy, do you think Hannah could stay with us forever? Can Lily be my sister for real?" Jonathan never had an easy answer, but deep down he knew he wanted the same thing. Months passed, and the bond between them grew undeniable. At Lily's first birthday, Jonathan surprised everyone. Surrounded by balloons, cake, and the laughter of children, he raised a glass. "I want to say something," he began, his voice carrying across the room. "A year ago, I thought I had everything a man could want: success, wealth, security. But then I met a woman at a supermarket returning a can of formula because she didn't have enough money to pay for it. That woman taught me that strength doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you give. Hannah, you gave your daughter everything you had, even when it wasn't enough. And somehow you gave me and Emily something too: hope, love, a family." Gasps filled the room as Jonathan turned toward Hannah, holding a small velvet box. Emily stood beside him, her little hand gripping his sleeve with excitement. "Hannah Brooks," Jonathan said, his voice shaking with emotion, "will you marry me? Will you make this family whole?" The room erupted in cheers as tears streamed down Hannah's face. She covered her mouth, overwhelmed, then nodded through her sobs. Yes, yes, Jonathan. 1,000 times. Yes. Emily leaped into Hannah's arms, shouting, "Now you'll be my mommy forever." Lily clapped her tiny hands as if even she understood the miracle unfolding. From that day forward, they weren't just four people under one roof, they were a family. Hannah and Jonathan built a home filled with laughter, love, and second chances. Hannah returned to her dream of teaching, opening a small community center for children, while Jonathan balanced his empire with fatherhood. Emily grew into a confident young girl, and Lily thrived, always knowing she had been wanted, cherished, and loved. The walls Jonathan had once built around his heart had crumbled, replaced by something far stronger, the love of a family forged not by wealth or blood, but by kindness, resilience, and faith in second chances. It all started with one act of compassion in a crowded store, and it ended with a truth Hannah and Jonathan both carried in their hearts: sometimes the smallest kindness can lead to the greatest miracle. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the interruption, but we hope you will help us improve our content in the future. How did this story make you feel? Did it touch your heart the way it touched mine while telling it? Do you believe that one simple act of kindness can truly change someone's life forever? If you love this story, comment the number 100 below. Tell us which country you're watching from, and don't forget to share this video so more